Greetings. We are the Arcturians, and as you well know, there are some very important things that are going on in the outer space. And outer space is interfacing much more deeply with the inner space of humans. The Arcturians, they think in terms of the outer space, that there is the world around us, and we are a component of this world that is around us, and that's our outer space. And what we humans need to do is to allow this outer space to come into us, come into our awareness, our thoughts. The planet Gaia is going through a transition. It's going through a transition in that humans on the planet are finding more and more interest in what's off the planet, what's around the planet, and that they are beginning to realize that reality is something that we choose to connect with. And as more and more people on the planet are talking about the fact that there's something up there and above us, and who are they? What are they? What are they doing? Why are they here? How come we're seeing them now? But they're aware of it, but they don't know exactly what to do with it. We're used to having things, what we perceive with our eyes or with our ears, but we haven't learned yet, and we're being trained now to learn in terms of frequencies. So like there's a frequency of having solid ground underneath you, and then there's a frequency of having this other energy field that is above you, and trying to connect more clearly between the higher planes and the physical planes. Some people have actually gone on starships, and had adventures. What do you have to add to all of that?
Actually, why don't we jump into that? Why don't we talk a little bit about these journeys? There are more people that are getting in connection and actually going up in dream time, in meditations. And sometimes that can be a very evident process of what's happening. Sometimes it can happen very unexpectedly, and it might take a little processing to figure out, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I was just connecting with some higher beings there. How interesting. So why don't we talk a little bit about your experiences and my experiences being up in these higher realms in meditations and in dream times? What is it like for you to go up on an Arcturian ship?
It feels like home. It feels like home. Like the Arcturians are saying, you need to have a strong sense of self, of what you want and where you're going and why you're going there. And also going into past lives. And in past lives, like I had a past life in which, for some reason, we were either on a starship or came back from a starship or something like that. There was a bunch of us, and we were all laying down in this dark room because we were preparing to go somewhere. Or maybe we had just returned from there, and I couldn't tell which was which, because those types of things of going and coming and upping and downing, it's not the same. It's different. It's really different. So why don't you talk about it? Because I can see that you had those kinds of experiences too.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about the feeling of it. It feels like home. And I think for a lot of people who identify as a starseed, or by having, like you were saying, past lives, anything that connects us with home means that we're connecting with that frequency of unconditional love. That's what it's based in, that place where we feel the safest. And recently in my meditations, I've been coming back to this sentence of love is not bound to one lifetime or one frequency. So when we do connect to these higher beings, or we have experiences where we're going up on these ships, and those feelings of, oh my gosh, this feels like home, but I don't remember being here before. Like, this is a new experience to me. We're tapping into those frequencies that were and still technically are home. We're just remembering. When I end up being on a ship, for example, it's always appearing as energy to me. So it looks like it's all like light. And it's like everything is moving and vibrant. It's alive. It's like the beings in the ship, like they have this joint Merkaba, and the Merkaba is the ship. And anytime I'm there, it's just like, oh, I feel it. It's not just what I'm seeing, it's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I have to get in touch with Soul Star and then also our heart chakra to really understand this information. And for people that are new to the eighth chakra, that is the one that's actually above the crown, and it's our connection to the Akashic realms. It's our connection to our past lives and also our lives in the future, which is very interesting.
Yes. Freedom from time. Freedom from time. I mean, I've been talking to the Arcturians my whole life, but I never knew what they were, but I would talk to them, and I didn't really understand what they said, but I know it was all a feeling. You know, it wasn't like, oh, hi, Sue, how are you today? You know, it was, how do you talk without talking? You know, this energy field that is higher than the fourth dimension, higher than the fifth dimension. We can't go into fear, and we don't want to go into fear because we realize that fear is something that's made up.
You were talking about communication, and I think this is such a good note, because when we think about higher beings, okay, if they have more advanced technology, if they have more advanced ways of living, then surely they would have a more advanced way of communicating. So people that are very in touch with frequency, vibration, emotion, it's easier for higher beings to communicate with sensitive people, like empaths, as people identify themselves, for example, because they're already aware of those subtle realms, not just what they see or what they hear. I really like that point that you brought up, because that is often how we get communication from higher places. It's a feeling.
Yes, and it's almost like a dream, but you're awake. So the dream part is that our daily life says this is impossible. I must be asleep. I know I'm having a dream. I made this up. Okay, and so all of these things that, you know, boy, what if anybody found out this is what I was thinking, you know? So all of that stuff has to like just settle in, And that's interesting to settle in. And then when I said settle in, I felt like into the earth, settling into the earth. And that settling into the earth is about, this is our earth, and we need to settle into our earth. What do you think about that?
I would agree with that. I think it is about bringing the energy down and grounding it. And I know we talked about the soul star, which connects to the earth star, which is underneath our feet and helps us interface with the planet, with Gaia. So it's like that saying, as above, so below. Going really high up in these frequencies. We're here to ground them down because we're trying to create that new earth energy. We're creating that change. It's not just so we can have a cool experience and call it a day and forget about it. We're bringing in a new field of energy into density. So we really are up leveling these fields by grounding the energy down. I absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost like there's a up and down at the same time. So, so that like, if I was thinking of like baking cake, the cake rises up, but it also connects to the pan that you make the cake in, and so the pan with the cake gets more solid together at the same time that it's rising. Like you make some food and the food rises, but it also gets more connected with the pan that it's in or the plate that it's on. So it's where opposites are one. Within this now, take time to spend in nature, walking in nature, looking at nature, sitting against a tree, being in the water, bringing all of the elements onto your own physical body, earth, air, water. We don't want fire, but laying on the beach, and letting the sun come on you, that's pretty wonderful. Earth, air, fire, water, knowing that there's these different components of our life and of our desires. And so there's a desire that you have of looking up at the sky, and there's the desire that you have of taking a walk, the desire that you have of getting in the water, and realizing that those are all parts of nature that are absolutely parts of our physical body. And so what we're getting to is that our physical body and our planet, they're not that different. We create our life. We create our body by, what we eat, where we go. Nature is us. We're part of nature. If we can let go, just let go of that which has its hands on you, that has the limitations on you, and just say, it's okay, limitation. You can let go now because I learned what you taught me. And with that type of a thought form, then fear is just another thing to let go of. Sometimes fear is exactly what we need to pay attention to exactly what we need to pay attention to. And it's that believing ourself, believing our very own self, and allowing it to be real for us within this now.